Here at the Standard Club, at the Foundry with Mizuno, and they can customize your clubs, and they can make you a better golfer, and they can work with you no matter how good or bad you are. And Austin Riley, I guess, welcome. I'll tell you that. You had this appearance scheduled, and you never know where life is going to take you. So I know it's your day off. I know that the team is struggling. I know it's been rough for you guys. Is it good to, on a day like this, just put everything down, get away from everything, and not normally talk to people like us?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I enjoy talking to you guys, so this is I'll make the exception. Yeah, I mean, especially where we're at, offensively, as a team, I think days off are good right now because I feel like, I think everybody's seeing it. We know it. We're obviously struggling, and we're pressing. So I think anytime you can kind of get the mental break, I think is good. When teams are hot, when you're swinging it really hot, you don't want off days. You want to keep it going and try to keep that streak going as long as possible. So I definitely think an off day is good right now.
So how much pressure do you put on yourself when you're dealing with something like this as a team and individually?
I think a lot. I think that's human nature because I do know how good we can be, and obviously you want to perform for the fans. That's the reason why we're playing. So there's a lot of pressure. That just comes naturally with struggling and when you have high expectations of where we think we can be, you want to get that figured out, and we're trying to do that. I think just like I said, I think if we can kind of just relax a little bit, I think it'll come to us quicker than trying to go get it.
Can you talk about what that self-imposed pressure? Does it feel that way at bat to at bat? Is it that way driving to the ballpark? Is it that way waking up? Is it that way going to bed? Because I would think, and tell me if I'm right, the at bat itself is not the moment. It's everything leading up to the at bat, and then maybe later on in the evening.
Yeah, I think it's just for position players, I think it's a little bit different because we do get to play every day. You kind of get to move on, but I think it's just the knowing the preparation that you put in. You talk to everybody and being in it right now, everybody's putting in the work. I mean, their guys are in the cage, they're watching film, they're doing everything possible to try to get it going, and I think, like you said, you start to hone in on that versus, like I said, when you're going good, you're just kind of, you're going through that flow state. So you're just, everything's clicking, you're checking boxes where, I think now guys are, they're micromanaging a little bit. Like I said, you're trying to figure it out, so you're honing in on every single detail.
When you're going well, I don't want to say you're not thinking, but you're not thinking. Is this the opposite of that?
I think it's more of just like, I guess, like I said, I've heard it from many guys that when you're going good, yeah, you have an approach, but you don't. Like I said, you're in there, you're in that flow where, like I said, when it's not going well, you're looking at every little thing, and at the end of the day, typically you're not as far off as you think you are. I mean, I've gone through slumps before, and it's just like, man, if I would have just focused on one thing versus 10 different things, it's like, instead of a 2-week process, it's 5 days. And I think that's where we gotta get back to, is just, trusting the process. Like I said, everybody in that clubhouse, they work, endlessly. They're putting in the time and the effort. It's like I said, we just gotta let it kind of come to us versus trying to go get it. And I think that's what you're seeing right now, is just, like I said, everybody's wanting it so bad. It's this game's hard, and it'll beat you up.
Austin Riley is here with us. Like I said, we're at the Foundry at the Standard Club, and we'll explain why we're here and why you had this planned momentarily. But a lot of people are saying, when you're going through a stretch like this as a team, what does the hitting coach do? What role does he play? Is it extra work, or is it getting away? I guess it varies from player to player.
Yeah, I think it does. I think the biggest thing, I'll say it first, and I've said it again. Hitting coaches has the hardest job because no player's the same. And what I may say to you may not work for you, and vice versa. So I think the biggest thing is, and Tim has done an unbelievable job, is just not showing any panic. Like I said, he's the same guy every day, and I think that's what we need right now and we're getting that, and I think these guys got to start, the biggest thing, I think guys just got to start trusting themselves. But no, Tim has been great. I think he's exactly what we need, and like I said, guys, I think we just need to start trusting ourselves.
Can you go against type tomorrow night? If I get 3 trays of chicken salad and maybe put them on a table right there in the middle of the room, you maybe want to just give it a flip?
Are the clubhouse tirades overrated, overblown? I mean, it doesn't happen as much as we see in the movies, right?
No, I don't think so. I think we're having the conversations that I think need to be had, and from a hitting standpoint, we're talking daily. I just don't like I said. I think the conversations that are being had are the ones that need to be had, and like I said, I think we just got to. At the end of the day, like you said, you look through our lineup, the talent is there. It's just a matter of being able to transfer it from the cage to the.
I think the other thing that happened is we saw so many guys in 23 and certainly 21 and 22 when 21 started to turn around. On a given night, 1 or 2 guys. On a given night, might be different 2 guys. Right now, it feels like the lights are out, kind of up and down the lineup, which is really difficult to win baseball games when you're giving away a bunch of at-bats, especially with the strikeouts starting to accumulate.
Yeah. No, it is. It's tough. I mean, it's just, it's kind of tough to put your finger on it. Like I said, I've been through it. When things were like that on a nightly basis, we talked a ton. Where it was a different guy every night. I think it's just, I've said it again. I think that the pressure and the trust factor of knowing that what we've put together will work. We just got to go out there and do that.
Does coming back home help? The last time you were at home on a Friday, the explosion took place against the Marlins.
No, I mean, like I said, the guys love playing at home. We play in front of the best fans, and no question about that. So, and we got the Twins, a team that we can certainly get. So, I'm looking to getting, let's get 2 in a row. Let's start there, and then let's work from there.
All right. Why don't you talk about why you're here today?
Yeah, Mizuno's big golf opening. This is very new to me, so I'm taking it all in as much as you guys. But for me, being a golfer as well, when it comes to bats and clubs and learning, what works for you guys. The big thing right now is torpedo bats, and I'm sure there's a lot of similarities when it comes to the golf thing. So to me, this is a very similar aspect of it. Is just like I said, learning what works for you. I've hit shafts that cannot hit it straight. Hit shafts that absolutely work perfect. So it's kind of the same thing when you look at a bat. I've held a bat and swung a bat, and I'm like, this feels terrible. The bat I use right now is obviously feeling really good to me. So, you stick with it. And what they've done here has been pretty awesome.
Yeah, they got, for those who don't know, here at the Foundry, here at the Standard Club, they have a custom fitting process with Mizuno here at the Foundry. 3 swings. They got the shaft optimizer. You don't have to hit a bucket of balls.
No.
It's 3 swings, not just for Austin Riley, but for anybody that wants to get custom fitted. So that's essentially how the process works. And Austin, I know you're going to do that. So before you go, the message for Braves fans that are very, very angry right now, what do you say to them?
Stick with us. We are a good team. I know it's been rough. There's if anybody knows it, the players know it. So
Nobody feels worse than the players.
Right, exactly. And like I said, and we got all the pressure. We deserve it. We hadn't played well, but the lack of effort and work is there. The guys are working hard. We're trying to figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. I truly believe that. Like I said, we got too good of a team not to.
I'm not a very much of a 3/4 glass full. But you can look back at 2021 and go, it was a struggle just to get to 500.
Yeah.
If there's anything that you guys know, we know, the length of the season sometimes plays to your benefit. Sometimes it doesn't if you get guys getting banged up at the end, and you guys certainly experienced that last year.
Right.
But 2021 will tell you that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's long.
It's long, and I remember 21 very vividly. You know, I was in a way planning my off season already in October. I mean, you know, that was where we were at that point. And next thing you know, we win. So that's what's the beauty of the game. Where, you know, Snit always says we're sick breeds for doing what we do, but that's what's so cool and unique about it. It's like you play 162, you're going to go through your ebbs and flows of it. You know, obviously we want to get out of this one as soon as possible and let's get it going. But you know, anything can happen, and I think this team has the chance to do something special. You know, we would like for it to happen, you know, sooner rather than later.
All right, go recharge the batteries. Take a break from all of this nonsense. Austin Riley, thanks for coming by. We appreciate it, and we'll see you tomorrow night when the Braves are back at home taking on the Twins.